Yeah. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Back at it again for the with Super Day for the PA Political Revolution podcast, and we back at it again to get in these politicians' behinds, right? We're here to dive right into their behinds. So please, excuse me, my bad, I'm gonna lost the train of thought. Please enjoy, this podcast we're gonna be going to, right? It's been a minute. It's been a minute, people. So, I gotta catch up on some things. I know everybody been asking me what's up, what's going on the podcast. I need to drop some fire, I need to drop some heat, I need to keep up in touch with what's going on with everything. And I do apologize. I be kind of busy sometimes. I be ripping, running, doing this and that, doing different types of things, 12 things at once, and I got to come back and do this. The wife be trying to run me all raggedy, doing over here, going over there. Let's do this and let's do that. So, I have to play my part as a husband too. So, in my spare time, I can play husband. So, yeah, hey. And we have a lot of things going on in council right now, right? A lot of things going on in council. So one major thing is that we had council go ahead and spit in the face of the blind community, right? They gave them a big slap to the face. And I thought I didn't think council would be this incompetent on this issue, right? I thought council was going to go ahead and hit a home run, have some good press on them, going to use this opportunity to help a citizen out, right? And to try to get some clout from that, right? Little did I know, when I thought I understood council, I did not really understand the incompetence of the council, right? To go ahead and let this slide by. But let me go ahead on and start this council video, right? And I'm going to give some commentary. I was over here doing this crazy debacle. Let's go ahead and, start it, and I'm going to just give my commentary along the way.
Speaker we have is Miss Melissa Charlotte of the National Foundation of the Blind regarding eligibility requirements to utilize paratransit services. And I'd like to remind you that you would get 5 minutes as a speaker. You may come forward. You need assistance?
No, thank you. To the counter. Steady.
Okay, you're there.
Sit.
Could you begin by stating your name, please, and your address?
Now he telling the lady you're there. Boy, this Bartie does not fail to entertain. You say you're there. Boy, this is one of the most incompetent mayors I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. My name is
And
Melissa.
you might want to, with your right hand, come forward with your right hand a little. Yeah, there you go. Now pull that up some.
Okay, hold on. My name is Melissa Charlotte. I live at 2444 Julian Drive in Port Arthur, Texas. Zip 77640. Hey Siri, open notes. They have a glare on my screen. Okay, I have a glare on my screen. First, I would like to say I appreciate everyone who supports me, stands with me, and you all for allowing me to feel like I still have a voice by being here, since it seems like everything else has been taken away from me. I have been fighting my disability my whole life, and when I found out I had retinitis pigmentosa and will be losing my sight, I never fathomed I will be losing more than just my sight.
And just for the the slow people in the back, right? When a person says they're blind, it doesn't always mean that they can't see absolutely nothing, right? That just is everything pitch black like you're closing down your eyelids. That is not the case, right? From listening to this young lady, right, on some of her pages, maybe a YouTube, right? If I'm not mistaken, she has a certain vision impairment where it's like extreme tunnel vision, right? If you put your four fingers, try to look like make an OK sign and try to look through it. I think that's the reference that she had given. Her thing, it's a real extreme form of tunnel vision, for the lack of better words, right? And I think she says some other people that has vision impairment or blindness, they can see, they have the opposite. I think she said she has a friend that has the opposite. They can see a little bit through the peripheral, but nothing directly in the middle. So this is for the slow people that doesn't really understand blindness is not just completely blind where you don't see anything at all. You can have a severe blindness where you can barely make some stuff out and could be some blurriness and other things. But let me go ahead and continue.
The struggle from going from independent and conducting all your business yourself to not being able to leave your home to get a change of scenery takes a toll on a person. Finding out about paratransit kept me going and put a breath of life back into me. I've been riding the paratransit since 2018, and as of recently, it has been taken away from me since the start of the new year. Disabled people and elderly already facing adversity in this world, which makes it hard to keep going, are always overlooked and handled any type of way. Because of this, and the ones who do this have no idea, because the ones who are in the situation usually just roll over and take it. But coming into this unfortunate circumstances of my sight declining me, I have never been that person, and I will never be. I am simply trying to shed light on the mental struggles and severity of this situation and find a solution to keep me afloat. I am not asking for any special treatment. I am simply asking to live with the accommodations and the resources that are given to me so I can still function as if my disability doesn't exist. It is hard to relate on the same level as a blind person while being sighted. So if everyone could close their eyes and just open their ears for a second, I have a quote to leave everyone with. Wise words from Helen Keller. The best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so kindly. Before we would begin to have comments, and let me know if I'm correct, City Attorney, before I would have comments from the dais, I'm going to call Mr. Mitchell, who is our Director of Transportation.
Mayor, because this is a presentation, it's not listed as that. I think this is the speaker. If you have a question for the speaker, then that's what's appropriate. Now, you have an agenda item later on where I believe council would discuss it on E1. Yeah, that would be the appropriate time, but when a speaker...
Okay, okay, we just want to be sure.
So the speaker is completed, but this item, if you want to bring E1 up, you could do that. You'd like to bring E1? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I have the president of our local...
Go back, just back to the mic.
Okay.
Unless you're right. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I have the president of our local chapter for the Federation with me. I would like to know, can she speak with me on my behalf?
Okay, now, because she's not a listed individual on the agenda item as the attorney was just explaining, now when we have a discussion...
Okay.
Now, this is goddamn sad, right? From the mayor and the goddamn city attorney. You have a person that's wanting to speak with the person with the blind, right? This is not a big deal. And I'll show you later in the Open Meetings Act, right? This should not have been a big deal on this. They should let the person speak, right? This is an item on the agenda. which a person should be able to speak on.
At another point in the agenda, if I'm correct, according to my attorney, parliamentarily, we can allow your president, who I'm acquainted with, to actually speak at that juncture. But right now, under speakers, we can't allow that.
But however, you can just pull up E1. Right. Yeah.
Okay,
If you want to pull up E1 and then
what page is that on?
It's right on the second.
Now, catch that. Bartie and the city attorney said that you can speak on here, right? City attorney said you can speak. Bartie said you can speak on it, right? They're both saying not on on the speaker section, but they have it as an item on there to have more conversation on there, right? So did you just kind of remember that when they say they can speak?
Page. Wait a minute. Let me see. Second page. I'm kind of toward the top. Discussions, E1, and that's under your same subject. And then under discussions, you can, if council has questions under the discussion, you can do that.
Now you heard it. City attorney said under discussions you can do this. So once you open the floor to discussions, by their own word, people should be able to discuss it.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure if we can, because being the presiding officer, I can't go in a different way on the agenda. So what we'd like to do, we thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Now you might want to say, I'm not sure if anyone else has a question for you. Councilman Doucette, you had a question for the young lady?
No, I was going to.
Okay, so we can allow her to go to her seat then.
Right.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, now what we like to do is go to page 2 under Roman numeral 3. There is discussion item number 1, and it's a discussion regarding the use of paratransit service that's been requested by Councilmember Doucette. Now, Councilmember Doucette, before you ask the questions, if you would, I want to call Mr. Mitchell up, who is our professional here and Director of Transportation.
Mayor, I'm sorry. If we're going to do any type of action and deliberation, we're not really posted for that. So I would just caution the council not to get into a action item when it's not posted as such.
I just wanted him for clarification, if he could explain.
Okay, I'm just saying ahead of time. Let's not get into something.
Well, they see now. Look, the city attorney talking about an action item and deliberate. Well, you can deliberate. Well, I'm kind of thinking ahead, right? Just remember that she said action and deliberation. So regarding of this, the mayor is calling up a person to speak. Now, it's already opened up for people to go ahead on and speak.
Thank you, Mayor. So are you asking if we should bring it on the floor, put it on the floor? I think that was...
No, what I'm saying is we just don't want to be... He can speak. I'm just telling the mayor initially, let's not
action.
be... Well, let me talk. Let me say, let's not be overly broad.
Yeah, I'm not looking...
Now, let's not be overly broad. I don't know what in the hell that she's saying on that, but understand, you see how incompetent the mayor is, right? He's so stupid that he wants to interrupt anybody that's trying to correct him. Now, how can a motherfucker learn but don't want to listen? Now, just as he don't want to listen to an attorney, tell him something, which he knows he's far less competent, right? He's way dumber than the city attorney, basically. He doesn't want to listen. Now, just imagine he burning your tax dollars, going on these trips, claim he's learning, but he doesn't want to listen to anybody that tells him something, right? This is the pathology of a psychopath. Let's continue.
Been action on it just for clarification and for those who are here, because I think several are here who would need to have a real good understanding as to what has occurred and why it has occurred the way it has occurred. Okay. Okay. Well, for a motion, go ahead.
Mayor, I'd like to move up. Okay, a discussion regarding the use of paratransit services requested by Councilman Doucette to the floor at this time.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we would have item number 1 under discussions, E, regarding, I think I just read it, it's regarding the use of paratransit services requested by Councilman Doucette, and it's been moved and second, so we're ready for questions. And at this time, I'd like to call Mr. Ivan Mitchell, who is the Director of Transportation for the City of Port Arthur, to further explain to us what has transpired that causes the differences to be implemented now that maybe what the practices were earlier for citizens.
Yeah. So, first of all, this is not a policy change. What occurred was we went through our database and we're basically cleaning up clerical errors. So unfortunately, there were some mistakes made where some individuals were given access to the service that did not qualify based upon the boundary. So I guess one thing I want to make clear to everybody, there is a boundary in which we serve paratransit service. And I don't know if can you guys see the screen there? So within the, I think it's yellow on your thing, that is the boundary within the city of Port Arthur. So anyone within that boundary who qualifies based on the other qualifications can and will receive paratransit service. If you're outside of this boundary, you still might qualify based on your disability and other qualifications, but because you're not in the boundary itself, you do not get service unless you're within the boundary. And so that's what unfortunately occurred. A couple of individuals that lived in the Port Acres area were put onto the list that shouldn't have been put onto the list. Once we went through everything, we started reviewing it. We realized this occurred, and we have to clean it up. Once we find mistakes in our system, we have to clean it up. We get audited. If the auditor finds something and knows that we were doing something that we technically weren't following our policy, that's going to reflect on us doing our audit.
Now listen, the guy is saying that if he he gets an audit, it's going to reflect on him. Just kind of keep that in mind, right?
So more or less, that's what occurred. We didn't change our policy. The boundary's been like that for quite a while. It's just there was a clerical errors.
Okay. Councilman Doucette, your latest.
Okay. I understand all that. We're dealing with federal funds, so first of all, we're not going to do anything to lose the funding because that's basically what's funded. The question.
But the thing is, the city of Port Arthur is not going to lose federal funds for giving somebody a ride, right? It's just not going to happen. And think about this, people. We had Odora, I think there's a couple of them, Odora, something like that, to come in, and we had to clean up some grant money that we did lose, right? That we had to pay back $10,000, and we ended up having to pay like a couple of million, something like that. Or it could have been more than $10,000. We had to pay back 10. But it was something like that where we had to get a company to pay more through gross negligence of not spending a certain amount of money or doing something wrong, right? That's the type of funding we actually would lose, right? Not that this is some bull crap on having a person ride farther than the ADA specification. That's not going to happen. But I'll get in that a little bit later. Let's go ahead on.
I have a simple question. These boundaries, we set the boundaries, don't we?
No, the federal government does. So we have fixed routes in the city. We have fixed routes in the city, numbers 1 through 5. The boundary is set based on 3/4 of a mile from that fixed route. So that's why you see all of the fixed, well, you can't see the other layer, but there's a layer on that screen there of the fixed routes. And within that layer, we push it out 3/4 of a mile, and that is the set boundary that the city has set based on the federal regulations.
Okay. Going back to my question, I think you just answered it, but you didn't say it. We set the route then. We set our routes.
We do set our routes.
Okay,
correct.
so
We do that.
basically, a simple fix is if we adjust the route out farther, then that will enable us to have a farther boundary, which would then include the people in it. Am I correct?
Yes, if we extend our routes, yes, the boundary. If we extend our fixed routes, yes, the boundary does extend according to the rules. Correct.
So that's all I'm saying. So all we have to do, if we want to entertain this, so that we can get we serving people in Port Arthur, you know, and when we say Port Acres and all these other places, they've been annexed. They are in the city of Port Arthur. It's not Port Acres. So if we have a route, and we find that we set it up, but then when we go 3/4 mile out, that at now we can't serve them because the federal regulation says no. So we don't want to do that. So what we do as a city, we go back and we move our routes out, and when we move our routes out, then when we go this extra 3/4 mile, then they will be ended. Am I correct with that assumption?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes. But
so-
go ahead. I'll comment.
So if we want to fix this situation, the simple way to do it is just move our routes out so that we could encompass the area that was left out. And then that will fix the problem. We will be within the federal guideline. See, the thing that I'm concerned about here is the federal guidelines is set up and we get money for it. But see, we have a service that we're providing to the citizens. And sometimes we have glitches, like you said. You know, you go back through it and you find out that it's been overlooked, and we correct it, we fix it. But when we fix it and we find out that it's negatively impact on our citizens providing this service, what we do now, we go back and we take a look at how can we not violate the federal law, but how do we serve the citizens, especially when it comes to disability people with public health and safety, okay? So, you know, I understand what you're saying, Ivan. The thing is, it's a simple fix, in my opinion, is that if we really want to provide a service, all we have to do is extend our routes.
Yeah. So let me talk more about that.
Okay.
So our bus routes currently run on a very, very tight schedule. Transferred connections. Most of our transfers occur at the public library and right here downtown. So to extend the route means additional time on that specific route. For me to change a route, I'm throwing off system-wide time transfers. There's basically the way we schedule it now, there's a little bit of leeway in case there's traffic or stuff occurs. But for me to extend something additional 5, 10, 15 minutes to go to, let's say, Port Acres, under the current system, we just couldn't do it based on the way the buses run now. So in order for me to extend it, I'm going to need additional resources in terms of probably additional bus and additional drivers potentially, because I have to go further out somewhere. And those are additional resources that we currently, as of now, do not have.
Okay, you're talking about the buses.
Now, right here is when Donald Frank should have said, "Stop pole mouthing. We stop acting like it's coming out of your pockets." That's what Donald Frank should have stepped in and made a motion to go ahead and pay for that, and to stop pole mouthing. Or Donald Frank should have made a motion to go ahead and get the refineries to pay for it. Let me continue.
But what about the van or something where they could call and we could go and pick these exceptions out? You see, because we're not talking about a whole bunch of people. So why don't we identify them, even if we have to send the van or another vehicle to assist them. All I'm talking about is how can we do it? How can we do it? I said extend the route. It was only a thought. But listening to you, I understand that may be a problem that we don't want to take.
Hold on right quick. Hold on. Apologize about that. I had to take a phone call. I already knew it was going to happen as soon as I started doing the podcast. Somebody was going to go ahead and call. Well, I have to go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and continue.
But now that I eliminate that, what other resource that I have, how can I do it? We're not talking about a lot of people. So that's what I'm talking about. Have we looked at what we need to do and then look at how we can do it? Have we done that?
Yeah, so we've looked at all of the possible options that won't create further issues for us. So, for example, extending the route that was discussed internally. As of now, we just can't do it based on the current schedules. We also have a route. Well, let me say we have a Route 7, which is a dollar ride service that does serve Port Acres. However, under the guidelines, dollar ride does not qualify for the paratransit services. So, what those individuals would have to do is the dollar ride service will bring you, when you call it, into the boundary. From the boundary, you can then transfer to either a fixed route service, or you can have your paratransit trip scheduled ahead of time, and then we can pick you up, and then we can take you anywhere within the boundary all day long from there. So that is an option that we've informed some individuals about to still receive some level of service.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's the idea thing. How can we get it so that they can get somebody to pick them up, and in the end they get to where they have to go? If we have to pick them up and take them to point A, that's just like if you go to a lot of services, buses, you've got to switch to go to another bus to go somewhere else. So the idea is how can we help our disabled? Because they're in Port Arthur. They're in Port Arthur. That's the thing. So we need to come up with something that can do that. That's so I don't want to keep this thing, but I think what we're looking for is can we do it? Can we do it?
Yeah, and for the Route 7 though, that is only for the Port Acres area. So there are other places within the city, as you can see from the boundary, that we do not serve. So that is an option for the Port Acres. But if there's other residents, let's say they call in the future and say, well, I also did not qualify based on the boundary, there's really no option for them unless we extend the whole service to the whole city, which there's restrictions. We have to have service equity. There's restrictions. We have to follow the policy. So, yeah, I would love to serve everybody in the city if I could, but we just have restrictions that we have to abide by. And we look for ways if we can, but
now you want to try to follow some type of restrictions. Man, this is crazy. Let's continue with this.
Sometimes, unfortunately, we just can't serve the whole city.
Okay. Councilman Kinlaw.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. But we're talking only about 5 people, right? And
about 5 people, correct.
so I think that we are accommodating those people now, right? So I don't think you would have to change much of your schedule now. Just basically talking with you and talking with Ms. Jackson about what is the solutions. I do agree with Councilman Doucette. What can we do to magnify our district boundaries? I did come to you with the same thing he suggested. I said, well, why can't we the fixed routes 1 through 5? Why can't we increase the volume size of that? You said we can, but it comes with the cost. It comes with providing more resources. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about providing more resources, that's our lane as council members to figure out what we can do. But if you live in Port Arthur, I think it's kind of unfair that you can't be entitled to some of those benefits as far as disability. So when we talk about disability, you got my heart, you got my eyes, you got my mind open about it, because we're only talking about 5 people. We're not talking about, something that's going to cause a strain on, and maybe the city manager may want to chime in too, but we're not talking about something that's going to put a full strain on the paratransit services that we currently provide, because they were doing it for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it has not. This has nothing to do with the strain on the service. This has to do with we found clerical errors, and we have to follow the policy. So that's
It's not a strain on the system. You've been doing this for 2 years, so why is it a problem to do it just one more month until you find a better option? You've been doing it this long. Council should have understood. I know it was kind of on the spot. Well, it's not really on the spot. They've been talking behind the scenes for it. They should have been. They should have recognized this and tried to tell them, look, hey, we've been doing this for this while. And look, let's go ahead. She came up there with the whole blind community. They should let them use the service until they found something. These are Port Arthur citizens, right? You have warfare against PA citizens.
that's all
Yeah.
this simply is. We had to clean it up.
Thank you, Director. But on our end, when we get these calls, when we get the media, when we get all these type of things going on, our job as council members to try to find solutions to problems. So what can we do if we can't, at this particular time, increase the volume size of the fixed routes? What can we do to make sure that we can entertain and service our paratransit individuals in the city? And we're only talking about 5 at this particular time. What are some of the options that we can do now to accommodate that?
The option in the Port Acres area is the Route 7, or the Dollar Ride 7. That's the option for there. Now, other portions of the city, to be honest, there's no other options as of now because our policy, we don't have any other services there. I'm going to use Sabine Pass as an example. We have nothing in Sabine Pass, so let's say tomorrow 1 or 2 individuals call and say, I live in Sabine Pass, I have a disability, whatever. We qualify them. We know they're qualified, but we don't have the service there in terms of the boundary. There's nothing I can do. The policy.
Well, the thing is, you've been doing it so long for these people. Let it continue until you find out a better route. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what a lot of these people like to do. They like to have the what ifs. The what if Sabine Pass called, the what if such and such called, what if so and so called. Well, hell, they didn't call. So, continue to do what you're doing with the blind individuals that you have, the disabled individuals that you have, until you can find something else better. That's the simple answer. Hell, you've been doing it. Audit was hard to go do, but I'll get into that a little later.
Is the policy. I can't change the policy.
Well,
unless we bring a fixed route bus to Sabine Pass.
right. And
Or a
economically,
Dollar Ride.
No, you don't have to bring a fixed route bus to Sabine Pass. You ain't been doing it right now. See, that's where they try to get you with all of this magical talk. He's trying to say you have the Port Acres, you can still do what you do, but okay, hell, you should be doing Sabine Pass right now. Why you don't have a fixed bus route in Sabine Pass right now? So that's just this crazy crap that they're talking about. It's just crazy. Let's go ahead and continue.
Service
we can do that at this time. But we have a lot of our community that's on dialysis that need the services, medical service, transports, and all that.
Yeah.
So, and they need that door-to-door type service. But let's look hard. I did talk with Ms. Jackson. I also talked with some other individuals about her particular situation. But she has my ear. I want to know what we can do. I don't want to, state that we're out of zone. We're out of commission. Like the councilman stated earlier, we set the fixed routes.
Now, they've actually called Ms. Jackson, Ms. Chloe, I forgot the other last name she have, but they've called her, right? So she should be able to speak, right? This should be an open forum right now, right? They've talked to individuals, so, they should be able to speak. She already said, hey, they want to doggone speak, man. This is how poor our council is being ran.
It's our job to set those, along with you and the federal government, to assign those routes. But we're only talking about 5 people, so let's work hard together and try to find a solution to this problem. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Frank.
First of all, I want to commend Ms. Charlotte for bringing this to our attention and making us aware of this situation and
Yes, Ms. Charlotte.
circumstance. I want to as well just piggyback off of what these councilmen have said, and I want to commend them as well for being so responsive to the phone call. When we were on the phone with Ms. Charlotte on Thursday, we did give her the option that we had at that particular time after having conversation with you, and the idea of the dollar stops, and she could get to a particular instance. But I'm so glad to see being highlighted right now the fact that we can move our fixed routes to a place where ultimately those individuals who need this service can be encompassed. And I would submit and suggest to us, Mr. City Manager and Council as well, that we would do that to encompass those 5 people. I understand that it was an oversight on our part, and there is so much ultimately going on. We've come through the pandemic and all of that, and I can see how that would have occurred. But since it has occurred, and since those individuals are being served and have been served at no extra expense or no extra cumbersome aspects being put on the transit, our ability to give transit to those citizens, I think it would be appropriate for it to be moved and for those individuals to be encompassed in it so that they can be helped. So I think that's where we are. I think that would be a fix to this situation and this circumstance.
City Manager,
I think we could bring some resolve to this as the director has proposed the dollar route option, as well as Route 7 that is specifically designed for the Port Acres area. Let's continue to explore and have a discussion with the individuals to see how that option can be accommodated without putting any hardship on without infringing the federal requirements, as well as addressing the need of the community. Those who have made it. So let's have a discussion on that, Ivan. Okay.
Well, Mayor. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
I like that idea, Mrs. Yeah, I like that idea, Mr. City Manager. But how is that going to help Miss Charlotte? That's going to be more cumbersome on her right now. That if we do that, that was the issue, that as we talk to her, she now has to get a ride to go to another stop to be picked up to participate in the service. So that's going to put an added burden on her and those individuals, because now they have to, it's almost like a bus route. You got to take a bus to go catch another bus to go where you need to go.
So let me explain I'll explain the Route 7 to everybody for those who don't know how it quite operates. Go.
Now, the thing what they should have done, they should have let Miss Charlotte come up there and go ahead and speak, right? They should have let her go up there and speak exactly what is the problem. But this is how council do, right? You have an item on the floor. They let you speak one time, but they don't let you speak. They let you speak as a speaker, right? But there's an item on the floor for to give board deliberation on. They let the traffic guy, the transit guy speak, right? The director, instead of the actual citizen that asked the problem. And this is an butt backwards council, right? An ass backwards council.
Currently, the way that Route 7 operates is it's a dollar ride. So if you're within, and I don't have the boundary up here, but if you're within that boundary of the Route 7, which encompasses Port Acres, El Vesta, that whole area, you can call our number, and then you will schedule a pickup. So that pickup will take you anywhere within that boundary. If you need to go to the market basket over there, there's I think a Dollar General or Family Dollar. Anywhere you're trying to go within that area, it'll pick you up, drop you off for a fee, whatever the fee is that it costs. we do, the way it's set up, we do allow individuals to go to specific locations within the fixed route to transfer to fixed route buses. Because we understand that not everybody is trying to just stay within that area. They sometimes have to go other places within the city. So we will make a transfer. If you schedule a pickup, the transfer point is the public library. We will take you to the public library where all of our other buses go, so you can transfer to one of those routes if need be.
Okay,
So,
excuse me. Now, I was a part of a conversation on Friday, and I thought that when we did it, that was a solution that we were offered to the young lady on Friday, that until we...
There you go. She tried to raise her hand. She wanted to speak, right? She wanted to speak. They wouldn't let her speak. Mayor looking at him, wouldn't let her speak.
come up with something else. Now, what I've gathered from our dialogue this morning, okay, if we're talking about changing boundaries, I think that there are probably some federal things and some other things that we've got to engage in. We would probably have to engage our legal department as well as a development to be sure that what we are doing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is there is another individual, since it's on discussion, who lives on, I think it's Maple Falls Lane, which is in another part of town that is basically almost out of, it's in Port Arthur, but it's totally outside of an area that you are to service. Am I correct on that?
correct.
Okay, now, and we have this individual who has to go to a dialysis facility 3 times a week and had been afforded that opportunity. And when I have dialysis, I've been a dialysis patient. I have that same, I guess, diagnosis in my family. You know, a family member who goes to dialysis 3 times per week. Okay, we're talking about sustaining life here, as well as maybe a person who has a sight deficiency. Now, what I'd like to know is what would be the ramifications, and maybe from the attorney, the ramifications of being involved in expeditiously as possible, doing what is necessary. Because you even brought up something else. I mean, we don't know when it's coming, but it may come. And as that population grows, even in Sabine Pass, that can be a strong possibility and a probability that that could occur. And now I've just learned that today, that if someone out there right now calls, we really can't serve that segment of our population. So what I would want us to do is to be able to serve the entirety of our boundary or our jurisdictions that's within our city boundaries. And what is it, attorney? Okay, you know, I mean, I know we can't resolve it this morning, you know, but how on a time frame?
Well, first of all, you know, maybe you all need to set up an internal meeting where you look at these issues and determine what can and cannot be done. This is my first time dealing with this issue today. So instead of having a fact-finding mission at a council meeting, why don't you set up a meeting, find out what needs to be done for the community, and let's do the research very quickly this week, right away, on how we can better serve the citizens.
Okay. Now, what I like to do is promise as being the mayor and
For some reason, I'm thinking the city attorney lying, right? Because her and Ron Burton, they talking about some stuff on the side issue. I'm thinking she lying. I think she don't really want to put nothing on the record, right? I really think the city attorney is lying.
Presiding officer, it's let the citizens know, please give us about 30 days. And it's government, nothing turns real quickly in government. Give us about 30 days to be able to gather what it is.
Well, nothing turned quickly. Well, hell, you surely kept the right of kicking her off the bus. That's turning pretty quickly.
We can do to correct the problem. I don't want anyone to think that we're being insensitive, yet we are trying to be as...
You've had several days, at least about a week, probably more than a week, right? You've had at least about a week to go ahead and deal with this. And to say that the city attorney, well, especially you should have, I'm surprised how you don't go to the city attorney when the guy's talking about federal goddamn rules. See, this is how useless the city attorney that we have, right? They're talking about federal rules. That's the basis of this guy's complaint, right? The transit guy. We got to follow the federal rules. So you trying to tell me that the city attorney did not touch any of this until right now at this council meeting. I call bull crap because you see her and Ron Burton talking about something right now, and it's a shame. We have an incompetent council that's screwing over the citizens and the blind community.
Agreeable and as law abiding as we possibly can be as far as our funding from the federal government for our transportation, funding for paratransportation, and we don't want to be out of compliance. And I applaud you, Mr. Mitchell, because you said it was a clerical situation.
Now, know that this fool is saying out of compliance by actually providing a service. I'll get back to that.
Situation internal, and it was only internal, and I don't think it was done maliciously. Someone called and said their name and said their address, and whomever that individual is or that case manager is that who works in there took that information, gave it to the driver, and the driver went on that run. But once you audit your things, you find out some peculiarities or some things that maybe shouldn't have happened. So if you all could give us about 30 days of the turn.
Mayor, we can move faster than that. That's what me and the manager are saying. We can get it done.
That was what I thought. I had no idea.
Well, you should have had something done, right? You see, they playing sideball talking. They need to go ahead and speak on it at the council meeting where they can go ahead and get done, right? Instead of keeping it a doggone secret, you're claiming you just heard it. All of this is bull crap, man. This attorney is violating open meeting acts, won't even let the citizen talk. The person that's in question talk, wouldn't even let me talk later on.
Y'all, we can do it by tomorrow if y'all. I'm good. No, so but as soon as possible, it's not on the calendar. That's why. No, I'm not being facetious.
Well, at this point,
no,
we're not in a
Just
position to
y'all
say.
give me a moment.
Okay.
I'm not being facetious, but see, I know how we are, and I'm saying how we are as citizens. So that was why I said 30 days, because in a month we would find it out. See, if we say next week, and then these folk are going to be looking.
See, all of this is not about clout. Well, all this is about clout. This is not about helping the citizens, because he know they get ran through and they get drugged on social media for all the dumb crap they saying. These council members try harder. They fight harder to go on these trips, spending taxpayers' dollars. National League of Cities, African American Mayors Conference, they fight to be memberships of these organizations instead of helping out the citizens. When it comes to help out the citizens, they clueless. They don't have a problem. Everybody heads is talking, don't know what to do. People looking crazy. Sidebar conversations. But when it comes to spending this money to go on these trips, they know exactly what to do. They actually fight for it. Stop pole mouthing. $5,000? You want to do something, get the refineries to pay for it. We breathe in the air. They killing us. You see, we find different funds, different ways to do the things that we want to do. Then also you have your mayor begging the citizens so he can go on some trips. So when this want to waste some money, spend some money for the politician, they can find all kinds of ways. But for this, helping the citizen out, and the simple answer is letting the person use the transit system that they was using until you find something better. And that's all that has to be done. But for this special breed of council, We don't have nobody with the intelligence that can go ahead and figure this out.
Next week for a positive answer. And it still may not be the whole answer because we've kind of moved it quickly. You know, we can't get everything done. So, but now, whatever, you all the professionals, what y'all say?
This is my first time hearing about this issue other than on the media. We'll move as fast as possible, as fast as humanly possible,
Okay, so
because we know that the disability community is very important, so we'll do that. And we don't.
Councilman Kinlaw just suggested something next meeting, but even at next meeting,
As soon
we
as
may
possible.
not
The
have
next meeting is next
resolve
week.
for it.
So
We may not
do it as
have
soon as possible.
resolve for it. We'll put it back on the agenda, and we can have further discussion on it. But please, please, I'm just a realist. I've been here long enough, not all my life, but a few years, long enough to know we may not have full resolve that everybody wants to hear next Tuesday. Okay? So just keep that in mind what I originally said. It may take us that long to work it out, get it done, and begin to implement it. So to those who can't, if the young lady, I think it's Ms. Williams, if you can't make I think it's the dollar route, he said, but you would have to catch one bus, go to another location, am I correct? And then get on that bus and go to the other location. Okay, do the transfer and being a sight challenged individual, I can understand what Councilman Frank said there would be a challenge for you. But right now, to be in compliance with the way the law is applicable to us, that's the way we have to do it. To the other person who I wouldn't call their name, but they are present here, who lives in the area that we cannot service. Right now, we can't service it. Just work, and I think I did ask you, make sure you can get your ride for today and tomorrow and maybe for a couple of more weeks so
The goddamn fool and laughed at the young lady. The fool and laughed at the young lady. That's a freaking shame. This is what the mayor has laughed at the doggone lady.
can get to the bottom of it and work something out. Rest assured, I don't think anyone up here is trying to prevent anyone from having this service that helps them to sustain their lives, because none of us know whenever we'll be in that predicament where we'll need that same service, okay? So if you all would just give us that time, my attorney says, as quickly as possible. My colleague says next week, so he's going to put it on the agenda for next week. We'll bring it back, and we can update you on what we know at that point. And I'm saying by the 1st of February, we ought to have a real good answer for you. Hopefully a resolution before that time, okay? We thank you. Anything else? Councilman Lewis?
Yes, Mr. Mitchell. In the interim, is there anything, the services you're providing for them now, is not going to be disrupted, right?
It has been, yes.
Until we work something out.
Yes, as of January
You're going to continue
1st.
to provide the service until we smooth this thing out?
No.
Right.
As of January 1st, we made the adjustments to the individuals who we discovered were the clerical area. So as of now, the service, I guess, has been disrupted, per se, as you just said.
So you're not going to disrupt it? So
No,
your response to my question?
It's been deactivated, if that's what you're asking. As of January 1st, the individuals that we discovered who should not have been receiving it based on the policy, it was deactivated for those individuals.
They're going to be what now?
The service was deactivated. By deactivated, they no longer can use the service within in the means they were using.
So you're saying that it's going to be deactivated?
It has been.
It has been?
Yes.
So let's enable it, okay?
We cannot. I cannot do
What
that.
is the penalty?
Policy,
Is there a penalty?
I don't want to. I don't want to get. There could be. If I.
Now, see, people want to laugh at Mr. Lewis, right? Because I already know he was kind of worried about, he probably was thinking of something. He has something on the agenda later on about this city attorney with home rule or some crap, and something with a assistant, with somebody at the DA office gave him a letter or something like that. I have to get on that a little bit later. But he has some issues he fighting this doggone corrupt city attorney, in my opinion, on the issue. And he'll be speaking about that a little bit later in this council meeting. But they trying to laugh and try to make fun of Mr. Lewis, right? But he said probably the smartest thing on the council, right? He said, put on the same route. And he said, what's the penalty, right? What is the penalty? Now, that's where you got this fool, right? He doesn't know. He don't want to say it could be. But the thing is, okay, what's the law? Now, I'm about to go and get into it more. That's what I'm saying. If there's a penalty to it, right? Let me go ahead and do it right now. I was going to kind of go ahead and wait. Kind of go ahead and... Do I have this joker up? No, let me see. Bam, bam, bam. Let me see. What is the penalty? So basically, what I understood, right, it's an American with Disabilities Act, right? This is pretty much what it is, right? American Disabilities Act for the trans. It's like a complimentary, service for it, right? From what I'm looking at, outside of the core services area, the entity may designate corridors with widths from 3/4 of a mile up to 1.5 miles on each side of the fixed route based on local circumstances, right? And this is the same thing for the rail. At the end station, other end station, outlying areas, the entity may designate circles with radius up to 1.5 miles up to blah, 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 based on local circumstances, right? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead right here. This is what 49 CFR Part 37, if I remember. Yeah, Part 37.1512, something like that. But it's pretty much service criteria for complementary transit. And it says right here on the bottom, however, if through the planning process the entity wants to enlarge the widths of one or more of the blue corridors from 3/4 of a mile width, it can do so to a maximum of 1.5 miles on each side of the route. The cost service provided within each such expanded corridor can be counted in connection with an undue financial burden waiver request, right? It's from what I'm reading. You can go ahead and expand this to 3/4 of a mile. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, from the ADA, right? This is like a rule to try to help people with disabilities. This is not a criteria to exclude from. Basically, what I'm saying is this is something that you should be able to, it's used to help people, right? So now if you don't do that, then it probably could be some ramifications, legal ramifications. But if you extend it, it's not going to be any type of legal ramifications. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you violate somebody that's right, most likely, yes. But if you add somebody to the dog, or if you go beyond the route, it's not going to goddamn hurt nobody. No government agency, no entity, no audit is going to come here and say, hey, we going to penalize you. You going to lose federal dollars because you went outside to help one of your goddamn citizens. That's why I say the council, all these doggone clowns think you are stupid, right? They're not going to lose federal funds, transit funds for helping out a goddamn citizen. So this is how we have to look at it. I guarantee you, nobody asks for the law, asks for the rule to go ahead and look at it themselves. They are so incompetent, they leaving the legal stuff to an already known corrupt city attorney, in my opinion, right? They already leaving this up to her to try to delegate, and they leave it to a goddamn staff. A staff person telling you. So they trying to laugh at Mr. Lewis, right? But he said the smartest thing out of there was the penalties. He actually challenging the doggone guy who's telling him the bull crap. Nobody else is challenging him on that rule. Because when you actually listen to it, it doesn't, when you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. The rule is to include citizens, right? You're probably going to get a penalty if you don't include the citizens. It's not going to give you a penalty if you help a disabled person that's a little bit goddamn farther. When they already have language inside the rules stating that you can extend it. So nobody's going to come out there with MapQuest, with Google Earth, with a ruler trying to get the exact distance of a disabled person for at least a month, right? You say you can do it quicker, let them ride the transit until you do that, at the most a month. That's not going to get anybody in trouble. This is something that the council can do. But whenever they want to use money to burn money, like Charlotte Moses said, right, when she was on council, with 4 votes, we can do anything. They ready to steal your money at the drop of a dime, but to go ahead and let a citizen use a service that they was using for up to a month, it's a goddamn problem. Now, they scared of this and they scared of that. They been financially screwing up money for a long time, but now you want to act like you worried about a goddamn fine. Man, get the hell out of here. And I'm glad Mr. Lewis done called them on that crap.
I go through audits. If I get audited, there's consequences to not following your policy.
Okay, what's the consequences to adding a person? You see, yes, consequences for not providing a disabled person a service. Yeah, I can get that, but it's not going to be a policy for overhelping it. That's so freaking stupid. But they think you all the citizens are stupid, and they think you the council is stupid. If y'all don't see, this the thing, right? You need to call out council members, right? They need, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Doucette need to start calling out council members on a regular, even more. Now, I know I'm calling out them too. And the other council member's not here, not this fool in Baltimore, but Miss Beckham. Yeah, Miss Beckham. Those 3 need to call out these crooked council members. The more you sit there and idle by, that dumbness gets contagious. And I'm hoping that craziness don't infect the rest of the council members that I believe to be are sane, right? Listening to these dummies talk this dumb crap infects everybody. It's like some zombies, right? Once the zombie try to take a bite of you, everybody infected, right? So hopefully they can recognize this and not let these other dumb zombies that's on council, like Bartie, Ken Law, Frank, city attorney, doggone Ron Burton. Don't let them infect the rest of y'all. Oh, yeah, in Hamilton too. Don't let them dummies infect the rest of y'all where y'all start to mentally be lacking on this.
So they're going to be without service until we work this out, that's what I'm hearing. And the city manager, we don't want that. If you have to go and deliver it.
Okay, thank you.
Basically, what he's saying is the doggone let her have a ride. That's the best thing anybody done said right there. But this the thing, right? They want to argue with you over some money. But Mr. Lewis told that to him. Bartie pretty much dismissed it, right? So, man, this council is goddamn trash. That's why I'm saying I'm low-key embarrassed, because this was an easy goddamn fix they should have got right.
Okay, that's no other discussion, no further discussion. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And now, there was a request
Mayor,
for the president to speak.
Yeah, Mayor, if you would like, if the council had someone that would aid in this, but this is not an action item. This is being brought to us, and, you know, generally speaking, I just want to say maybe for efficiency on this and other items, let's not get too overly broad.
Okay, so
But I don't control the
Madam
meeting.
President, and the gentleman who has his hand in the back, it's not an item that we're going to take.
Now, I'm raising my hand at the back, right? Because I know the city attorney full of bullshit, right? I know she's either incompetent or don't know what the hell she's doing, right? And I'm going to show you.
Take action on. So at this point, I'm going to disallow any involvement from the gallery. Am I correct on that?
Yes, and
Okay,
we're
that's
going to,
it.
again, move as soon as possible.
We'll move to the next item. Okay, our next item, sir. Okay, just a minute. Just, ma'am.
Mayor, let me say something.
That's me speaking in the back. I'm pretty much saying, city attorney, you violate my rights. Through this open meeting, that guy can speak on any item. It doesn't have to be an actionable item. You don't have to vote on a goddamn item to speak, right?
When we have an item on the agenda, anyone can always talk before the council takes action. We have presentations, speakers, and discussions. So if the city council needs someone to aid in that, then that's a decision of them. But you have a right always to talk on an action item. But on this one, we're getting the information, and we're going to move very expeditiously on it. And then if anyone needs to speak about this issue in more detail, we have another meeting Tuesday, and we'll be happy to hear those comments. And then if you have some questions for me so we won't get out of order, I'll be happy to sit with you in just a few minutes. So we won't have to be out of order. I don't want you to be out of order. So if you have some questions, I'll come down and... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, we don't...
Now, this is the thing. I don't want to goddamn speak to you in private, no crap like that, right? I want to speak to the citizens. I want to speak on council. That's where I want to speak at, right?
Excuse me, point of order. Point of order, Chief.
If you have any questions...
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Attorney, Chief, I think she's answered him. Would you reiterate to him that he has been given an answer? Thank you. We're going to move now to our next item. And again, to those who have used the service to each other, we appreciate your being there. As she said, you can.
Now, Chief coming over to me, right? Tell me, don't make my job hard, right? So I kind of go up on the chief. What you mean, Chief, make my job hard? You need to get them crooks up there on council, right? I kind of tell him something like that, right? So I kind of end up going outside of, leaving out of council, right? Going outside in a little foyer, whatever that area is where the elevator's at, right? So and then, you have Miss Charlotte, Miss Melissa over there, talking. They doing the news people coming out there and following them. Stuff like that. So that's probably when you see the picture of me throwing, taking picture of the news, interviewing them. So, Chief come out and me, talking, blah, 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 small talk, this, and this. I'm like, Chief, I mean, look, I'm kind of jumping on the Chief. You come and talk to me about this crap. You letting these crooks on thing run flow. And I told him, look, the last time they violated my Open Meetings Act, right? Chief was talking about conflict of interest. I said, look, you didn't want to do it because last time I had it right, it was over the elderly at OW Columns. They was living in trash situations, and that lazy mayor wouldn't do nothing about it, right? Playing stupid. So that was the other time I went up there to the actual thing and spoke on it. So they didn't want to let me speak. They violated my rights to speak, right? So I end up filing at the police department, a violation, Open Meetings Act complaint, right? Violation of law. So I went through that. I put Chief on there as a witness. You right there. Chief, he the witness, right? Did it about like a year ago, something like over a year ago. So I'm getting all this crying from the chief, talking about it's a conflict of interest and this is a conflict of interest. They couldn't do it. So I'm like, and so I went and spoke to the DA about it, right? That was first, but last year. So the DA said, conflict of interest, what they gonna do if the mayor shoots somebody? How's it gonna be a conflict of interest then? So they kind of gave me a little joke to shoot back at the Port Arthur PD, right? It's kind of like a little joke, right? Like a little inside joke. They know it ain't no conflict of interest. I'm like, well, hell, Chief, you the goddamn top dog. Who gonna tell you it's a conflict of interest? You can investigate it if you want to. I'm not talking about they don't do this. What the hell you don't do? You need to have a list of, okay, what doggone things you don't do. They can do that. They just don't want to do that. They don't have a certain. The police department should have they do a lot of shit, right? That's like the first level of stuff where they should do it. So they gave me this whole runaround of where to go, this, and that for all this stuff, right? End up, locking it down to the DA and the Texas Rangers, of course. So back then, that's where I know now to not go through that rigmarole and get caught up in that bull crap, all them lies. So I know to go either the Texas Rangers or the FBI. Anything with politics, if I need to file a complaint on them, Texas Rangers, FBI. So while we know they have a deadlock with the Texas Rangers right now because of the DA playing crazy. They don't want to do any type of investigation, I have my own suspicions on that, but they don't want to do anything. They tried to give me to run around to go back and forth with the DA, but I know the DA is supposed to let them authorize the Rangers to go ahead on and do the investigation. Said so by the other Texas Ranger had like an article about corruption on what Texas Tribune, one of them Texas websites, and also from Miss Beckham. She also had an issue that she had to go to the Texas Ranger with also. So, no, that's the correct process, right? So, jumping back. Now, the city attorney wants to sit up here and lie, talk about this with the Open Meetings Act, right? Right on the board is right from the website, Open Meetings Act PDF, right? Rights to the public. Now, jump down here, right? Boom. Section 7, right? 551.007 provides a government body to which the section replies shall allow each member of the public who desires to address the body regarding an item on an agenda, ... to address the body regarding the item meeting before or during the body's consideration of the item. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to 551.007. Boom, local government code. 551.007, public testimony. This section applies to the governmental body described by section blah, 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 blah. Government body shall allow each member of the public who desires to address the body regarding an item for an open meeting to the body addressed by the body regarding to the item of the meeting before or during the body's consideration of the item. A governmental body may adopt reasonable rules regarding to the public's right to address the body under this section, including rules that limit the total amount of time that a member of the public may address the body on a given item, right? Okay, boom. So it doesn't say that you're excluded or only on an actionable item, right? The only thing where I can see where the city attorney tried to act something crazy, right, about address an item on the agenda for an open meeting regarding item consideration, right? That's the only thing. Before or during the body's consideration of an item. Okay, cool. That's what I would suspect that she wants to say that it means that, right? But going to ChatGTP, right? I asked them what was consideration. That's legally mean. Due to an exchange of stuff, parties in a legal contract. So, okay, ChatGPT, let's talk about Texas. What does it mean? I mean, doing the Open Meeting Act. Hold on for a minute. Okay, now, and it means, in the context of the Open Meeting Act, consideration refers to the deliberation of public business by a governmental body. The Act emphasizes transparency in government decision-making process, requiring certain meetings to be open to the public. When a governmental body considers an item, it means they are discussing or deliberating on that matter. And such discussions must typically take place in open meetings outlined by the Act to help ensure accountability and blah, 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 blah. So anytime they're discussing something, discussion or deliberation, that you have the right to talk about it, right? It does not say an actionable item where you can only talk about that as to vote. It's saying that you can do that on things that they're voting on, deliberating, anything, right? If it wasn't understood. But hell, all you have to do is go to the beginning of this, right? And understand, what's the purpose of the Open Meetings Act. Ken Paxton pretty much said, the Texas Open Meetings Act was enacted to ensure that the Texas government is transparent, open, and accountable to the people, right? Noting this, right? How is it? Oh, it is core that government entities keep it official access to the public. Okay. Knowing this, right? It doesn't make any sense that council would only you can only speak on actionable items. The majority of citizens' issues, complaints, or things like that are items that's not necessarily being voted on, right? Or actionable. In most normal governments, right? Actionable items is stuff, just regular contract. Hey, have such and such cut grass. Have so and so do this. Most of the time, or a contract for this, most of the time in normal operating governments, right? Most people are not going to, pretty much speak on that or question that, right? There's going to be other things that are discussed, a lot of things that are not actionable or voted on, according to the city attorney, right? People are going to speak about it. People are going to speak about things that doesn't really have anything to do with being voted on a lot of times, right? A lot of things that people want to discuss are things that are up for discussion. It makes sense, right? What the city attorney is stating, you can only speak on, if you didn't sign up to speak, according to her, the only thing that you can speak on is items that are to be voted on. But like I said, most of the times people are interested in things they are not voting on, what people are discussing. So understand the city attorney is wrong, in my opinion, right? When she said this, it doesn't pass the common sense test. So the city attorney is violating my right to speak, those blind folk right to speak, and other people, right? See, and this is the issue we have to do. We have to get rid of the city attorney, in addition to these other clown council members, right? Because when we went to the back, right, city attorney kind of came back there. While I was talking to her and the chief, while the news people was over there, the city attorney want me to talk to call her. They can kind of go over with me. I'm like, look, it doesn't say that in here, right? She said, oh, yes, it can. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say, look, the Open Meetings Act would not specify you can only speak about actionable items and something else you can't speak. That's that bull crap logic that the city attorney tries to go ahead on and pull or tries to add, right? That's just this crazy crap that she tries to do to suppress other people's words, right? And want me to call the Texas AG with or whoever. Look, I don't need one of these people to tell me what I can clearly read and I can clearly see what the intent of the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act is to let you go ahead and speak, right? Of course, it's not going to govern everything, but it's going to let you speak on certain things, right? Let me go back and see something. Let me go. Let me see. Okay, let me go back and hit this right. Rights of the public. A meeting that is open to public under the Open Meetings Act is public to permit to attend. Many government bodies conduct public comment, public forum, or open mic sessions at which members of the public may address comments on any subject to the government body. A public comment session is a meeting as defined as blah, blah, blah. So basically this states, right, the Open Meeting Act recognizes that you have meetings that's open to the public or a public forum or better yet, an open mic. They say use open mic sessions at which members of the community can address the government. So they understand this. They permit it. So understanding, they know that they have open mics. People are permitted to speak on different topics, right? It doesn't make any logical sense to say, oh, hey, you can speak on such, but only on items you're going to vote on. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, right? So you have a comment section and you have other items for consideration. Considerations mean it could be voting on, or you just deliberate, or just basically talking over stuff, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So basically, these people are lying. These people either are incompetent or they're lying, right? So that's why you need to make sure you press these city officials for all of this dumb stuff that's going on, right? Because they don't have a clue what they're doing. They don't have a clue, but your tax dollars are at the mercy of an incompetent council. So back to the issue at hand, the easiest fix, which should have been done, was let this young lady ride, because the guy did not know of any type of consequence they would have had. And they could have done this for a couple of days, right? A week or however long, up to a month, as the mayor said. They could have done this with no problems, but now you're scared of an audit. So people, that's what happened. You just seen them violate the Open Meetings Act to the blind community and another citizen that wanted to speak on this item because they didn't want to get embarrassed. They didn't want to look like a fool again, because they've been looking like some fools on the internet trying to fight over, trying to go on these trips and have fake pro-blackness. All of these crazy stuff that's going on, right? Ready to burn your money, ready to burn a hole in the money. They just don't want to get embarrassed. So, people, that's it. We need to go ahead and continue to fight this corruption, this incompetence. And that kind of seemed to be it, people. All I have to say is keep on fighting a good fight. And this is Super Dave back at it again with the PA Political Revolution podcast. And next time, stay tuned, take it easy, share this podcast, let somebody know. Peace.